Okay, do you see any levels here? Anyway, suppose I don't want surface in temperature. I mean, surface temperature will the legend in Kelvin. I'll go to the temperature here and I'll say temperature here, not in Kelvin but in degrees Celsius, and I'll plot it. I'm going to هذا تحول Celsius وهذا still Kelvin, so I can do this as well in Kelvin. I mean in degrees C or degrees F. Okay. Yeah. Rainbow. What do I? Twilight. Twilight is nice. بالhomework في twilight عدل. ما أدري وين هذا راح الصراحة. You could show a legend to hide the legend, or show a grid to hide the grid if you don't want this. طبعا this thing is هني. Window setting هني. Graphics, new window, function plot. Anyway, you do what you want. The thing is, you can print this in a printer, and you could snapshot image snapshot. So you could تحطها بالclipboard or بالfile. You could clipboard and paste it somewhere, or you could do the file, and you can include كل هذه الأشياء ولا some of them ولا none of them, and you could do الwidth set. يعني الحين I'll tell you what to do هني. If I say this and I say image snapshot, and I'll give it these default ones and current ولا man size whatever, and I'll say حطها بالclipboard. Okay, it generates this, and I'll paste it somewhere هني. راح يطلع لي كذي. It's not complete. Look, it's not complete. I think it's not complete. However, if I do this and I'll say current, okay, clipboard, it will give me this. Oops. It will give me, if I say include all of these, it will give me this. Okay. And sometimes you need an option. Chili, I need to focus on this. So do this, and you have this thing. Meanwhile, if you select manual or manual print, it will give you a lousy screenshot. I swear to God, in the ساعات you don't get what you need. شوف هذا انت you're shooting for this image, it gave me you it cut off هني. Okay.
print screen دكتور.
لا print screen هني you can كيفك, بس انه you can specify the resolution.
Okay.
You can specify the font size. بس resolution أهم شيء. You could specify هذا. You could lock aspect ratio. وهذا اللي أبيه. يطلع لك كذي. Anyway, so do this, and yeah, you could also export. بعدين راح نشوف data ولا plot ولا whatever. Last thing I want to do, and after you have everything, save your file. Don't forget. وبعدين save your file again. ولا you can generate reports هني. Last button is generate report. Right click and say generate a brief report, intermediate report, complete report, which is huge, every step that you took, or custom report. I don't know what template is. Maybe you read about it. The manual ولا بالhelp file. But you could do custom report. Every this and that. Give me give me this size for the pictures, for the template brief. هذا وخلني أغير منه. You could generate HTML or Word. I suggest Word because then you have, unless you want to publish it online, you have the pictures by themselves and it's a single file. If you do HTML, it has its pros, but it has some cons, some disadvantages in that it's multiple files, the directory and the HTML page. So let's do Word just to look at what gives you what file it gives you. So this is my شنو كان اسمه conduction example 1 docs actually, and you generate. Well, I could preview. Okay, generate preview or write it يعني save as. So let's preview selected. And national content, generate, it's doing the thing, preview all, it's still preview. So this is the preview. It gives you a table of content and definitions and the parameters that you entered, okay, group by group. And the variables, nothing. عندنا one variable, and the functions actually عندنا two functions ولا one function analytic اللي هو an1 is a function of x وهذه الفانكشن plotted. أنا uninteresting. بعدين component 1 عندنا definitions whatever boundaries وهذا material and then the aluminum بعدين materials ونوصل بعدين heat transfer solid, the type of physics باختصار. Okay, this is the equation. These are the features. Okay, استخدمنا solids. يعني these are things that were used, initial value, term installation, whatever, and these are the things I added. Equations for each one, and value for each one, I think, in a table. And then we have two meshes, A and B, and the study used mesh one, mesh one. And then the results, I had two results. Data set, solution, okay, solution, uninteresting. And then in the temperature profile, temperature plot group 1, and then the isothermal contours, which I haven't paid attention, is still empty. And then that's it. This is the brief report. I could write it as a text file, or I could go here and I'll say I want the complete report, and I say preview all, and it will give you a preview. It's huge, wide. All the things that I discussed, and then some. الجيومتري شلون تكونت والليفت والرايت etc والمشز ملوتي and so on. This is a brief example, so there's not much different. Like if I had used so many constants, so many analytical functions, and so many options, the boundary conditions, then there's a huge difference. A huge difference, trust me, between the brief report and the complete reports. You want to key in on the figures. Okay, anything you have in the results section, it will be anything you have will be included in the brief reports and the complete reports and the intermediate reports and the custom report, depending on the custom. You can select the type of figures that you want. That's it, really. Any questions?
Very customizable program. Very heavy.
Very heavy?
Yeah, because very customizable. It's very heavy.
Yeah. I can duplicate this, by the way. I can. This is the step. I can duplicate this. I can duplicate this, and I'll say use this mesh. Well, there's another way to do it. Huh? So if you want to test meshes, there's another way, smarter way, and customized way to do the mesh study. We'll talk about it later when we do heat transfer, when we do fluid flow. المهم ان this is mesh A or mesh B, and هني you could use initial value solved for, use it from the previous. This is fun. I'll show you later how to have a steady solution, and then I need, you know, another steady step, time dependent step right after the steady state solution, and then something kicks on. Heater is turned on, or the electric current goes on. So you modify the model configuration for each step, and I say, okay, you know the temperature at the top, I want to disable it for this time dependent stuff. And there is another value of the temperature that's disabled above, and it's enabled here. Okay? And if I disable it and do nothing else, then it goes back to being adiabatic. I can put a disabled boundary condition for, and for the results for the physics variables, for the dependent variables, the initial value for the variable solved for physics control, no physics control. I want to use the method, a solution. Well, what solution? Well, I want the study 1 solution, اللي هو هذا step 1. وبstudy 1 هذه study 1 فيها step وstep 1 step 2 في step selection, automatic, physics controlled, user controlled, solution 1, step 1, stationary. Okay. These are the initial values for variables solved for, and values for variables not solved for. أنا بهذا zero solution. I mean هذا first, last. Yeah, I think last. Well, automatic. Okay. Or I could forget about this and I say I want an initial expression for this method. إذا عندي initial expression. لكن usually I'll solve a steady state solution with another previously transient solution, and then I switch something on or off, and I continue with another transient solution. طبعا I could easily do it in one step transient, and أقول 2-3 minutes use this value, I do an analytical function, or function RAM, step function, parameter, location, step function from 0 to 1, from time equals 0 to time equals 5 seconds, this is the value, from time equals 1 second, 5 seconds to time equals infinity, this is another value. Okay, and all types of functions. Okay, piecewise, start T argument for transient solution, piecewise linear. So argument is T, and T from 0 to 5 seconds. The function is 35 degrees Celsius. I can add a unit if you want. Well, I could add a unit هني تحت. And from 5 seconds to 50 seconds, this goes up to 55, and then from 55 seconds to 60 seconds, it goes to 42, and I can plot this, and I'll say that that contiguous 55, this is 50. Okay, for the temperature, and I go to the temperature of this boundary, and I'll give it PW1 أفتح قوس as a function of T. واضح? Any questions? That's it.